Hi there, welcome back to What the Flick. I'm Christy Lemire, that is Alonso Duralde. It's just the two of us now for movie review time. Teen Titans Go to the Movies is a movie version of the TV show Teen Titans Go, and Alonso will tell you about it.
So, in Teen Titans Go to the Movies, the Teen Titans are Robin and Cyborg and Starfire and Beast Boy and Raven, and they like to eat burritos and do musical numbers and sort of like the idea of superheroing, but they don't do a ton of it until they notice that they're the only superheroes that aren't getting movies made about them. In fact, they don't even get invited to the premiere of Batman again. And so Robin becomes obsessed with the idea of having their own movie. Meanwhile, the villainous Slade has a, who they like saying his name is Slade, has a, voiced by Will Arnett, has a devious plan that perhaps only the Titans can foil.
With the quick view, they're really making movies about every superhero.
Has there been a movie about you?
There was a Green Lantern movie, but we don't talk about that.
It's time they make one about me.
I'm afraid it's no. I only make movies about real superheroes.
Why don't they take us seriously?
Titans, you guys are never actually doing anything heroic.
What about that time we discovered that sweet diner and they had that food?
That wasn't even a crime.
We're sitting here just laughing at the reminiscence of Nicolas Cage playing Superman, which is a great indication of the level of like meta upon meta upon meta happening here.
Like if you get why it's funny that Nicolas Cage is voicing Superman in the first place, this is the movie for you. This is the movie that has references to the Challengers of the Unknown and Detective Chimp. And you know, as one person said on Twitter, we can now declare that the Batman origin story can never be told again.
Well, I'm not gonna give it away, but they do a beautiful bit, one tiny bitty detail that is so beautiful that I laughed out loud in the Batman origin story. I'm not gonna say anymore.
Like you don't have to be a dyed-in-the-wool DC Comics geek to have fun at this movie, but boy, if you are, there is just like there's so much stuff going on here that's so pleasurable.
Right, and we complain so frequently, Alonso and I in particular, and critics in general, about when a movie is like, there's a thing you know, and there's a thing you know, and there's a thing you know. This is not that.
Right.
This is like deeply steeped in pop culture and in comic book references.
But then there's a joke.
Context, but there's context, and it's like, it's not just self-referential, it's like, it's also commenting on itself in ways that are really subversive and really daring. I was shocked.
I mean, like they stick it to the DC movies, they stick it to Marvel, they stick it to like the whole sort of superhero moment we're having in pop culture in a really smart and funny way. And this is a movie that is, while on the one level aimed at kids, there are fart jokes. You know, at the same time, like there is this really kind of clever. You're right. It is a sort of subversive parody of the permeation of superheroes in pop culture right now.
I don't know how they got away with this. Like the more I watched it, I'm like, how did this script get approved as is? Do you know the TV show at all on Cartoon Network?
Ish. I know the previous version, like the one that had the Puffy Amiyumi theme song. I've only seen a couple bits of this one, but so I went in pretty cold. But you don't really have to be steeped in like you know the backstory of the Teen Titans. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, we watched quite a bit of Teen Titans Go in our house. So I've never seen House of Cards, a Game of Thrones, but I've seen a lot of Ninjago and I've seen a lot of Teen Titans Go. And one thing I love about this is that compared to the Lego Ninjago movie, they let the TV actors keep voicing their characters here. And I love that about them because they've been doing it all this time. And so with the Ninjago movie, they just recast everyone to put in more famous actors, and I thought that was to its detriment.
And there have definitely been like Cartoon Network movies of, you know, like where they take a show and stretch it out into a film where like
Aqua Teen.
Well, I'm a fan of that one. I named my podcast after that one. But like, I was gonna say the Powerpuff Girls movie from 2002.
That's not good.
I was a big fan of that show, but even to watch that movie, I was like, oh, y'all are just like stretching to get to 80 minutes, you know? And this one never felt like that. It was just like joke, 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 joke. And it was, you know, it has a 3-act structure and it has fun, like, you know, they set up gags and pay them off later, like all the things that I like in comedies that you don't get enough, especially when people are improvising half the time.
Yeah, no, it does zip by really fast. It is just about 80 minutes, which is probably just about the right amount of time here. Yeah, so besides Nicolas Cage playing Superman, you have Will Arnett as Slade. That's Kristen Bell as the voice of the director who makes all these superhero movies.
Lil Yachty as Green Lantern.
Yes, and there is a Stan Lee cameo. That is not a spoiler, and the fact that there's a Stan Lee cameo in a DC movie tells you everything you need to know about what the sense of humor is going on here. Yeah, I liked it a lot, and I brought Nick with me to go see it last night, and afterward, he was cackling his head off, but he also said that there were some moments that he wanted to cry. There's some surprisingly emotional moments here, but not in a way that's like cheesy. It's still true to the tone of this.
Yeah.
There are also some insanely catchy songs.
Yes, yes there are. There is one that I would wager to say, if they play their cards right, could be the new Everything Is Awesome.
Is it the upbeat, inspirational?
I wasn't gonna say what it was, but fine.
It's out there. It's darn catchy. I liked it a lot. But there are several songs because, as you pointed out in your intro, they enjoy bursting into song.
They do indeed.
And that it actually makes sense with who they are because they're kids and they're goofy kids and they're all distinctly drawn. You mentioned that there's a fart joke. You know I'm not a giant fan of fart jokes. This is a very clever fart joke.
Right?
There's also a very clever poop joke.
Yes. And also, you're talking about being subversive and goofing on themselves. The bad guys' plot reminded me of the launch of the DC Universe streaming service that they're gearing up for. I was like, is it?
Yeah.
Are they doing that on purpose? Like,
yeah.
They probably are.
Are they having their cake and eating it too in that regard? Or, or they're trying to actually say something pointed about people being glued to their screens at all times?
Well, that was also Incredibles 2.
Right?
Yeah.
Also having your cake and eating it too. Like, don't buy into all of the all-consuming hype, but like, here's some merchandise you might enjoy.
You know, and I like the sort of the candy-colored aesthetic of the TV show works well here, and it looks like big screen animation. It doesn't look like inflated TV animation where like the edges don't look finished, or they haven't bothered to fill in some of the spaces. Like, they actually really made the effort to figure out what this thing was going to look like.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. So if you go see this, and you should, and then you get a little bit curious about the TV show, it's on Cartoon Network in the daytime, but it's not necessarily just for kids. I would say it's really fun, and it's got that same kind of like snappy, light, great movement to it.
I laughed a lot.
Me too. My number is an 8.6.
I said 8. That might even be low.
Do you want to change your number?
It's too late. It's on Metacritic. I'm stuck with it. But so go see this movie. I had a blast.
8.3 is our number. It is. It's high up there in
90 something.
Yeah. So enjoy and see it or not.